Sure. Okay, so yesterday we saw about how it is REST APIs and what are the basically REST APIs and what are the HTTP methods, resource, everything we saw yesterday. Okay, now we have started implementing REST APIs in Express using Express, and we have implemented a simple API for users where we will show all the users. Okay, and show users by ID. Okay, now let's implement other APIs as well. But before implementing those APIs, okay, now you will see that when I want to when there are APIs, like the APIs will increase, right? So there will be a lot of APIs we will add. Like for users, we have it. Then later on, we will add some APIs for medicines and everything. So in that case, the file will become huge. Okay, and it will become difficult to manage all these APIs, right? Because right now only if you see it's around 59 lines of code. Okay, which is having users API and rest of the stuff as well. Okay, then how do you separate out the like APIs or specific feature specific APIs or resource specific APIs separately in a separate file and then use it in the server.js file? Okay, that would be good because if you create a users API in a separate users file, then everything related to users resource we can handle it over there, and here we can just handle everything related to the server, like Express server configurations and everything. Okay, so how do you create it? How do you create a separate file and then use it over here? Okay. So for this, what we can do is we can create a separate routes folder. Okay, where we can add routes for each and every resource. Okay. So let's say we want to add resource for users. So I'll create users.routes.js. So what this file will contain is this file will contain all the routes of your user related. Okay, user related resource related routes or APIs will be will be contained here. Okay, so what I will do is I will just remove users APIs or users functions from this, and then I will use it over here. I'll just remove it here from here and put it here. Now when you cut from here and put paste it here in the separate file, you will see that server.get. Now where the server is coming, because if you see here, the server was the created server. When we created Express server, it was a server object that we were using here, but here we don't have a server object. Now we cannot create a const server equals to Express again, because that will create another server. Okay, we don't want to create another server, we just want to use one server and then add these routes to that server. Okay, so how will you create that? For that, Express gives you one object for router. Okay, so we can create router object equals to, so it will be express dot router. Okay, so express dot router, not route, it's a router. Okay, the express dot router will create a router object for you. Okay, now this router object we can just assign it over here, and then see, this is now routers are created. Now how will you use those routes here? Okay, in this page, how will you use it? Okay, first of all, one more thing I need to do is I just have to uh, move this users array from this page to this page, so that, because I'm using users here, not there. Okay, so I need to do that as well. Now our routes are created, router is created. In this router we have routes. Okay, get users. Okay, now how do I uh, use this router in this file? Okay, remember in the module section, if I want to use this router in another file, like this object in another file, we have to export it, right? So we can export this using module.exports equals to, we can write router, sorry, router. This router object will be exported and we can use this router here. Okay, so we can just import, or let's say user routes equals to require, and in this we can specify the path. So it's in routes folder, route slash user routes. Okay, don't need to specify JS. So we got user routes. Now, how will you specify that in server? Okay. Now, if you remember, the this router, the router that we have created, is nothing but one middleware. Okay, it's actually a middleware where we're specifying a lot of other request listeners. Okay, for each and every route. So what we can do is we can just use method server dot use. Okay, and then the first parameter would be the URL that for which this needs to be handled. So let's say we call it as users. For users, we will pass user routes. Okay, so if you run this now, okay, this will work, but there is some catch here. Okay, the what's that catch will be? Let's see. First, let's run our application. Okay, first of all, Express is okay. Sorry, I didn't imported Express. Yeah, that's what I was feeling. What is the issue? Yeah, now it is correct. Okay, I have an imported express.router. Okay, now it is imported and your application is started. Okay, now let's go to your Postman and see how we can run this API. This was our users API, right? So let's see whether this API works or not. If I hit enter, send it, you will see it's not found. It is telling me not found. Okay, our APIs are correct. I have also imported the routes. Okay, and I also specified users here, and it is using user routes. Okay, and my application is not giving me error, but it is telling me that is not found. It is not found. Actually, the problem here is when I'm specifying server.use slash users. Okay, that means this is my initial URL slash users localhost 4000 slash users. Okay, but when I want to get all users, the all users URL is slash users. That means I need to add slash users again. Okay, then if you send it, you will get all the users. Okay, actually this is redundant, right? So we shouldn't be writing like this user slash users. That is not correct, right? It should be just users. So in that case, what you can do is, sorry, in that case what you can do is we can remove these users from here, because for all the users API we are going to prefix it with slash users. Okay, so here we can simply say slash. You don't need to use slash users. Okay, so it will be slash users slash this. Okay, or blank, it can be blank as well. Okay, here also we can remove users because the prefix is users. And yesterday I told you, like if you are using resource URIs, then it should be a meaningful self explanatory, right? So if you are using user resource, it should be user slash anything, product resource product slash anything. So we are just writing that prefix here and using rest of the routes related to that resource in this. Okay, now if you run, you will get all the users with just slash users. Okay, and if you run id, that will also work. Okay, so that's how you can separate out APIs. Now you can see that the code here is reduced. Okay, obviously it was for 59 lines of code, but it's now reduced to 34, and everything related to users is now moved to users routes.js. Okay, now we can write every API related to users. We can write it in user route.js, and we don't have to worry about the server.js. Server.js will do its own job. Okay, we just have to include these user routes in my server.js, because if you don't enable, because server is running from your server.js file. Okay, your express server is created from server.js. So your express server should know what all the routes are. Okay, and that's routes we are specifying using server.use, and make sure you're using server.use before wildcard route. Okay, because order of route matters. Okay, if you remember, order of route matters. So if you use wildcard route before this, then obviously nothing will work. Okay, everything will go to 404. Okay, so wildcard route should be at the end, and error handling will be at the end of the route, wildcard route as well. Okay, so understood how we can separate out the user routes, separate file. Yes. Okay, great. So write it down, then we will see rest of the APIs. Done?
Hi,
Yes.
sir.
Mhm.
Sir, I'm getting an error like app crashed waiting for file changes before starting.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, sure, sir. Is it visible, sir?
Yes. App crash waiting for. Okay. Go up
Yeah, sorry.
in the code. In the code,
Yeah,
user
sure, sir.
routes is not defined. You have not uh, go to server.js. So you haven't imported. You haven't written
Oh, okay.
require user routes, right?
Okay, okay, sir. Okay. And
Everyone, is it done? Okay. What about others? Okay, good. Okay, now, okay, good. Now let's see the other APIs. So, okay, like we just saw about read APIs where we will see all the users. Then we can get user by ID. Okay. We can also write, let's say, okay, I'll just get all those APIs that we have written yesterday. So we can go through them. Yeah. So just copy, save. So this is done. This is also done. Okay. Then there is a search API. Okay. The search API will basically will accept some parameters to for searching. Okay. And based on those parameters, we can search in the array. Okay. So how can we do that? For searching, we need to add one more API, and it is also a get API, and we will have user slash search name. Okay. So should I add it below this or should I add it above this? Should I add above router.get colon id, or should I add it below?
Below, sir.
Below, okay. But if you write it below, okay, it is going to create a problem. Will be search because users is already there. Okay, so we don't have to write users, so it will be search, but here it will be problem. Remember what is the problem here? Problem is this is a this is a dynamic route. So if you write user slash search, this colon id will accept that search, and your response will be handled by this route, not by this route. Okay, because in order this will be captured first for user slash search, because colon id is dynamic, right? So it can accept any variable, any string, any number, anything. Okay, so your, as I told you in the previous lectures, your static route should be at the first, then your dynamic route should come. Okay, you can test it out. I'll just run it here. I'll just write log uh, colon id, and here I will say search. Let's see which one comes first. Okay, so I'll just run this and write search. If you run, you will see user not found. Okay, and in the console log, if you check, you will see colon id is printed. Okay, so you can see that means if you write this first, then this is will going to match user slash search. Okay, and your output will your request will be handled by this router. Okay, now to avoid this, we can write it here. Okay, so your static route should come before your dynamic routes. Okay, and here we can write for now. Let's say response of send or this JSON for now. I'll just write blank data here for now, and let's see whether this works or not. So now if you run it, you'll see the blank object is coming here, and in the console also you will see search. Okay, so that means my the route is working if I am putting it before your dynamic route. Okay, now I want to search, right? So in the search, basically you can pass parameters through query. Okay, so you can through query string you can pass parameters. So you can write question mark. Okay, then whatever the term you want to query it into, right, or search filter into. So we have a name and age. Okay, so let's say I just want to filter based on name. Now it can have name, email, anything, but I want to search in all the fields. Okay, so in that case what you can do is you can just write one parameter in q equals to, and then you can type in anything. Or if you just want to write a name and you want to filter based on name, okay, then type name and then write a name. Let's say I specify p Pranit. So if I specify Pranit like this, then it should give me the Pranit user with whose name is Pranit. Okay, so let's see this if this works or not. So for this, first of all, how will you get this name parameter? If you remember, this is a query string, so you can get queries parameters using uh, request dot query. So from this we can take out name, and this name we can use for to search. Okay, now let's check whether this name is coming or not. I'll just print it in the log. Send, and you will see the name is coming here. Okay, and let's just check whether this name matches with your users array or not, and then if the user is found, then we will return it. Okay, but this Pranit, okay, whatever we write, okay, it should be it can be in capital, it can be in small. Okay, and I don't want to match entire name. Okay, let's say I just want to match the parameter, or let's say just entire name only. Okay, we'll check the entire name. Now in this case, how we can match it? So we can again write find, but writing find will basically give you only one object. Okay, what if you have two users with same name, right? So if you have one more user, let's say 26, and his name is Pranit More. Okay, I want to search users whose name contains Pranit. Okay, so in that case, what you can do is you have to return two users, right? No, not one user. Okay, because this also has Pranit, this also has Pranit. Okay. So in this case, what we will do is we will write filter, not find, because find will give you only one object. Okay. You can read the documentation. It says returns the value of the first element in the array where predicate is true and undefined otherwise. So it will only return the first element which is matched. Okay. The second element it will not return. Okay. So to return all the elements, we can use filter. The filter will do the filtering and will return all the matched values or matched elements. Okay. So we'll say const filtered users equals to we'll say users dot filter. This will have user dot name. We can write dot includes, okay, because we want to check this entire string whether it includes in the name or not. Okay, this name. Okay. So we'll write name here, but just writing this name will basically only match if the cases are matching. Like if the capital case, small case are matching, then only it will return. If you want to make it case insensitive, in that case, what you can do is just convert this to two lowercase, so that everything will be, the name will be converted to lowercase, and also this to lowercase, okay? So that everything will be converted to lowercase, even the query string, that is name, is also converted to lowercase, and the username user.name is also converted to lowercase, and then it will check. Okay, this will make it case insensitive. Okay, so whatever case you write, like capital P, small p, it will work. Now this will give me the array. Okay, now whatever is returned, we can just return it here. Okay, so we can say, let's say uh, users colon filtered users. Okay, now this will if the array is like if the condition is match and the users are returned, then this will return users array. If the condition doesn't match with any of the element, then it will return a blank array. Okay, and it doesn't matter to us. Like if it is blank also, that is also okay. If it is one, if it is one with one value, if it is with two values, that is also doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see whether this works or not. So I'll say search name equals to Pranit and send it. You will see both the items are returned. Okay. Now let's change capital P to small p and see if this works or not. Enter. Okay, that is also working. If I say just PRA, this works. Yes, this also works. If I say MORE, then in this case only one element will be written, that is third ID with user with ID 3. C. Okay, this will only be written. If I say Ajay, okay, so Ajay will be written. If I say something different which is not available, you'll see the blank array here. Okay, so that's how you can do the filtering. Now, if you want to filter based on multiple parameters, then you can write a question mark here. Okay, let's say question mark age equals to 24. Okay, so this will basically, what it will do is, whose name contains PRA and age is 24, only those items should be written. Okay, that means in this case my first item should be written. Okay, so if you want to do this, then in this case what you can do is you can take one more parameter here, that is age. Okay, that age, how we can match it, to match the age, we have to write multiple okay, conditions. Okay, first condition is matching the name. Okay, then the second condition would be and condition. Why I am writing and? Because both the parameters should match, right? Name and age both should be matched, right? We cannot just say this match or this match. Okay, if you want to write such case, then you can write some use some query parameter to write or condition. Okay, if you want to write or condition, then use some different parameter for that. Okay, and then we can do or here. It also depends on the business logic as well. Okay, if your business logic states that we want to filter out based on or, then use or. If the business logic states that no, we want to filter out based on and condition, then filter it based on and condition. Okay, now here we will do user dot age equals to plus age. Now I'm doing plus age because age is a string. Okay, I want to convert it into a number because in this case our age is number. Okay, so I'll just write age as number string. Okay, so it will convert it to a string number when you prefix it with plus. Okay, so in this case, if the username contains the name parameter and the age is what is the exact age, okay, if it is matches, then it will return the value. Okay, so in this case, it should return me this first object. Okay, let's see. Okay, you can see my first object is returned. If I say 26, I'll see the third object. Okay, if I say 25, okay, then nothing will be returned. Okay, but if I say just name, then also you will see nothing is returned. Okay, now if you want to check and name and age, okay, or if the age is not specified, okay, in that case, how will you handle it? Okay, in that case you have to make this condition, okay, based on the parameter. If the parameter is there, then only add this and condition, otherwise don't add the and condition. Okay, meaning you can just write if, okay, um, age, okay, if let's say age is not equals to undefined. If it is not undefined, okay, and also we'll have to write for name as well. Name is not equals to undefined. Okay, if name is not undefined, so what we will do, we'll first write a query here. Query, let's say it will be blank. Okay, then we will append that query plus equals to the first condition. Okay, now this is no, see, we don't want to write a blank here because this query is actually going to return boolean value, so it won't be blank. So let's consider as a true. Okay, initially we will consider query as true. Okay, if it is there, then we'll write true. We will append it. Okay, or let's say we'll write and equals to. Okay, and equals to yeah, ampersand, ampersand, double ampersand. Why I'm writing ampersand, ampersand? Because this will evaluate. Okay, so first condition is true, always true. Okay, if it is true, then it will evaluate to true. If it is false, then it will evaluate to false. Okay, and now here also in this query equals to query and user dot age, like this. Okay, now we can simply write this query here. Just specify the query. Everything else we are just handling based on the condition. Okay, now see if this works or not. See, now if I'm just writing name, it will work. If I'm just writing age equals to, let's say, 24, it will work. If I'm writing 26, it will work. Okay, if I'm writing name and age both, okay, this will also work. 24, 26, and 25. Okay, this will also work. You just have to handle the conditions according to the requirement. Okay, now my requirement is that I want to handle all the conditions. Okay, for or, you just have to change this to or. Okay, ampersand, ampersand, you just have to write or. Okay, and that's how you can do the searching. And if your parameters are increasing, you can just write them those many conditions. Yeah. Okay, understood, everyone? Okay, write it down. Okay, just come back. Then please increase font size. Okay, okay. Then okay, great. Done for everyone. Okay. Let's see the next operation. Okay, good. So why we use Postman instead of browser? You will come to know that now. Okay. We can only use get method in browser. Okay. If you enter any URL in the browser address bar, that URL will only give you get request. Post, put, patch, delete request will not work. Okay. Where can you specify the post, put, patch, delete methods? Right. So that can only be specified if you are using some like if you're on browser, then you have to use some HTTP library for that, calling them for calling APIs. Okay, if you're using Angular, React, they have this functionality. If you're using JavaScript, then you can use fetch function. Okay, XML, Ajax request, jQuery Ajax. Okay, that can also be. Okay, but to test it out as a backend developer, you cannot test it on the front end. Okay, so to test your APIs, you can use Postman tool. Okay, for this purpose. There are other tools as well. So, but Postman is most popular, which is used. Now let's implement the other APIs, right? Okay. So the next API is this address will keep it aside. for now, because we don't have relationships for now. When we have a MongoDB, then we'll implement relationships, and will that's time we'll see. Okay. Now we'll create a post API. Okay, which is create API. Okay. So it will be post with slash users. Okay. So now you can specify it later as well, because there won't be any get. It would be now post. Okay. So we'll write router dot post. Okay. For post API, you have to write post. For post method, you'll have to write specify dot post. Okay. And then the blank URL. Okay. Because we don't have a, sorry, we don't have anything after users. Okay. Users is already handled here. Okay. So you'll just specify blank or slash request comma response, and then we'll write our code. Okay. Now, first of all, when you are doing post, okay, the first, let's see, just I'll just send a JSON formatted data blank, and we'll check that this post API works or not. Okay. If you send it to just users, it will be a get API, right? If you are using get, and it will give you all the users. But if you want to use post, we have to write post here. Method post will be used. And now if you send it, you will get a blank object, which is correct. Okay, because we are returning blank object here. Okay. Now I want to send a data to a post method. Okay. Because we will be creating a user. So user will require name and age, these two parameters. These two parameters object I should be sending, right? So how do I send these two parameters? Through postman. Okay. Now this is a body. When you are using post method, you have to send the data in a body. Okay. So you can send the data in a body using this body thing. Okay. We have a lot of options here. Form data is used when you are using form, when you are dealing with forms. Okay. Or handling with form data. Okay. Form submission data. But since we are dealing with JSON, okay, we have to use raw format, and here just change your raw format text to JSON. Okay. And then now we can write JSON formatted data here. We'll write name colon, let's say Vijay, and comma age, sorry, double quotes, age colon 20. Okay. So this is how we can specify the data in post. Okay. Now if you send it, okay, this will work. Okay. You'll get a blank object. But now how will you get the data? Okay. Remember when we have used post in our EJS template, we used our JSON. Okay, sorry, the UI express.url encoded thing, right? So this will give us a form. Okay, and you will get the data in request.body. Okay, but when you are dealing with JSON, we have to include this line. Okay, server.use express.json. Okay, when you do this, you will get the data in request.body. Okay, just print it out, log request.body, and you will get the data. Let's check it out. Send. You'll see the data is received here. Okay, name Vijay, age 20. Okay. Now we need to just create the user. Okay. So you'll get the data in, let's say, const request.body. Okay. Here we will specify name comma age. Okay. Now to create a user, you just push the user object to user array. Okay. Create a object name colon. Okay, we don't have to specify name colon. You can directly write a name and age, because both the key names and variables names are same. Just have to write for ID. It will be users dot length plus 1. Okay. Your user will be created. Okay, now you have to return created user, right? So what we will do is we will create a object here, const user equals to this. Okay, and then we will push this user in the users array, and then we will write let's say data colon user. Okay, so we are specifying data colon user, and generally the status code will be 200. But if you want to specify, you can specify status as 201, which is nothing but created. Okay, if you run this, you will see user is created and with status code as 200. Okay, if you want to check whether the user is created or not, you can use get request with to get all users, and just specify none, body none, and you will get this last user. Okay, you can see, and the user is added here. Okay, we can again create a user using post method, and let's change this to, let's say, Sunday and 21. Okay, now, okay, now before sending it, yeah, I just want to change this status to 201. Okay, because it will tell me the user means you created status. Okay, now you send it, and you will see 201 created, status as 201 created, and your user is created. You can see the id is 4 because I just saved the code and my server is restarted. Okay, then server, since server is started, your the previous data is gone, the new users are loaded again, and now if you get the users, you will see all the users here. Okay, understood how to deal with post request or create a user? Okay, do it, then we'll see update and delete. Then okay, great. Chalo. Let's see the further areas like put and delete. Okay. Now this is what create API, create operation. Now for update, we can use two options. One is put and one is post or patch. Put, put API is used to replace the object, and patch API can be used to um, partially update the object. Okay, but it's up to you. Okay, because most of the time people don't update the entire object. Okay, they just update partially. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to use put for partial update, you can use put for partial update. If you want to use patch for partial update, you can use patch for partial update. Okay, and if you want to use put for entire object updation, then you can use put for that purpose. Okay, we'll use it for one purpose only. Okay, so I use put here. Uh, we'll change it to patch later on and we'll see how it can be used. Now, when I say put, okay, put has users slash user ID. Okay, that means it will have a colon ID. Okay, so I'll write colon ID here and then request comma response. Okay. Now, when you use put, okay, put will have the request parameter as well, which is ID, and it will have body as well because we are going to update the data. So whatever the data we are going to update should be there in the body, right? So we'll write const first is request dot params to get our sorry, to get our ID, this ID. Then we can use const uh, request dot body to get the body. Is like name comma age. Okay, now since we are doing partial update, okay, if you're doing just the entire update, okay, like the full update, then you can directly assign the values. Whether it is null, undefined, doesn't matter. But if you are doing partial update, then you have to check whether the value which is coming is there or not. If it is not there, then we don't have to update it. If it is there, then we have to update it. Okay. But before updating, first of all, you should find the user and check whether user exists or not. Then only we can update it, right? Otherwise, we can't update it. So here, if you see, this logic is actually same because when we are doing find, we are also finding the user. If user is found, then we say we send the user. If user is not found, then we say user is not found with status code at 404. That means this logic will become exactly as it is over here. Okay, there will do user, we will find the user from the users array using the ID parameter, and if user is found, then we will update it. Otherwise, we'll say user not found. Okay, now while updating, we can write user dot name. First, we will check. Okay, if name not equals to undefined, then we will write user dot name equals to name. Okay. For now, we are not doing any database update, so we'll just update the fields here. Then we'll write age not equals to undefined. Then we'll write user dot age equals to age. Bus. Then we can send the user here and it will automatically be updated because users find will give you the object itself, the object with that same reference ID. Okay. Now, if you do the put operation or update, try to update. Okay. For put operation, we can use put. Okay. And here the users allow. Now, if you see get, you will see all the users here. Okay. but I want to, let's say, update the user's, let's say, name, okay, or age. Then we can write, let's say, put with user's ID is 1. I want to update this user. Okay. So I'll write user ID 1. And now let's say in name, I want to change the name to, let's say, Pranit More. Okay. So it is Pranit. Now it will change to Pranit More. Let's send it, and you will see the name has been updated. Okay. If you want to check whether the it is actually updated or not, you can get the same user, the user slash one, and you will find the same user is returned. If you want to check all the users, you can, the all users also you can check the username is updated. Okay. But your age is not updated because age is checked. Okay. We are checking whether the age is found, then only we will update it. Okay. Now, if you want to change the age also, you can change it, like, let's say with this, I'll change the age to 25. Okay, so it's 24. I'll change name and age both. Name I'm changing back to Pranit and age to 25. Now, if you do put operation and send, you will see, okay, we haven't specified ID here, right? So you'll see error 40404 cannot put user slash one update. You will see the age and name both are updated. You can get the same user and you will find the same user is returned. Okay, that's how you can perform put operation. But this is a partial output operation. Now for patch, you can simply write, instead of put, you can write patch. Okay? Instead of put, you can write patch. Okay, so this will work. But when you are if you want to update the entire object entirely, then in that case this condition won't matter. Okay, you just have to write user.name equals to name, user.age equals to age. So whatever it will be, it is undefined, then undefined will be assigned, null will be assigned. Okay, but when you are doing partial update, you have to check the fields, what values which are coming, you have to check. Understood, everyone? The put operation. Okay, great. Write it down, then we will see delete operation, then we'll stop. Then okay, great. What about this? Okay, great. Okay, now let's see the delete operation. Now for delete operation, we will use router dot delete. Okay, and the router dot delete. If you see for delete, we have users slash user ID. Okay, then we will use the same technique that we have used for port operation. So it will be slash colon ID. Okay, it will be request comma response. Okay, and then in this case, okay, we will get first params. Okay, and when you do delete, we are not going to pass anything in the body because based on the ID we are going to delete the user, right? So in the here also, the first thing is first find the user. If the user is found, then we will delete it. If the user is not found, we can simply say user not found. Okay, or else if you directly want to delete the user, delete it. Okay, doesn't matter. Now, if you want to delete the user, we can again do the same thing that we have done before. Users equals to users dot filter. Okay, in this you will write user dot id not equals to plus plus id plus id. So what this will do is, except for this user, it will return all the users. That means this user is deleted. It is as good as the user is deleted. Okay. Now in this JSON, we can return. We cannot return the users array. We can just say JSON, or we don't have anything to return. Okay. So we can write it here. Let's say dot status as of 202, I guess 204, no content. Okay, and then dot send nothing. Okay, we can just write like this, or let's say send status like this. Okay, we don't have to do send again. Okay, just send the status, that's 204, no content. Now if you just try to delete, if you see get, if you do get all users, we will see all the users. Okay, now if I want to delete this second user, let's say, okay, or third user, so I'll write 3/3 and I will do delete. Okay, delete, and you will see 204 no content because we don't have any content to return to, so say no content. Now if you try to get the user, you will see user not found. And if you try to delete the same user now, because it's already deleted, send it, you will see user not found. Okay, 404 user not found. Okay, now if you try to get the user, get all users, you will see only two users. Okay. Understood everyone how to perform delete operation? Here we are using the array or in-memory array for all the users. Okay, in the next lecture, we are going to see how we can persist this data in the database. So in the next lecture, we are going to convert all of this code. Okay, rest of the most of the code will remain same, but we'll connect to the MongoDB database using Mongoose library, and then we will change this code to use MongoDB. Okay, so this entire code will change to MongoDB. Okay, I lost my net connection. No worries, I will explain it again. Okay, for delete operation, we are getting the ID. Okay, so it will be delete user slash ID. So we'll get the ID. Now, based on the ID, first of all, we'll find the user. If user is not found, then we'll return miss user not found. And if user is found, then we can use the same method that we have used before, where we will filter out the user with the ID, and we will get all the users except the this ID user. Okay, and since we don't have anything to return to, we'll simply send status as 204. So once you do this, and if you return the user, If you say get all users, you will see all three users. If I delete the user, let's say third user, okay, with delete method, you will see 204 no content. That means it's deleted. If you try to delete it again, you will see user not found with 404. Okay. If you try to get the user, you will also see is 404 user not found. And if you try to get all users, you will see that user is deleted. Okay. That's how you can perform delete operation. Understood? Okay. Okay. So write it down and we'll stop here. Okay. In the next lecture, like in the Monday's lecture. Okay. So the lecture will be on Monday, right? Yeah. So on the Monday, we will try to, let's say, we will connect our code or connect our Express JS code to our MongoDB. Okay. So make sure you go through the MongoDB lectures, okay, which we have done before. You already have the recordings. So just go through those recordings, yeah, again if needed, or if you know it, it's good. Okay, but in the next lecture, we are going to directly do our MongoDB connection. Okay. Okay, then write it down and I'll stop the recording here.